Greetings everyone! It has been a while since I filmed an IRL video, and yet here we are bringing back the once ghosted program. Recently, I tested once again traditional media since I binged watch sketchbook tours, and envy hit the nail on the coffin. I will be showing 2 of my watercolor sketchbooks that I have completed this summer, and bear with me as my camera is on lower quality. If I do have budget, I might buy a new one. Starting with the first, we have a 4-year watercolor sketchbook. It has been in storage for many months, and as you can see, the string is quite loose. It lasted eagerly, I guess, but it is still okay with watercolors. Not necessarily my pick for quality, but it's there. Most of the things in here are a mixture of my old and new art, due to not drawing on it for a very long time. On the first page, we have my old avatar, the internet typical Neko boy with the cat ears and kawaii things. What a sight to see. I swatched my koi watercolor so that I have reference of what to pick. I had this set since the 9th grade and possibly still is my main watercolors to use up to date. Great for traveling and compact to a T. These ones are some of the last to be drawn in this book. I love the challenge of creating blobs of color and inking anything you can see in them. It is a fun exercise and I recommend trying it out. All of these are decent except whatever this is. Is it a bear or a dog? Or maybe a bear dog? I'm not sure either. A random landscape painting. I remember liking a ceiling decoration from my past school and I decided to sketch it profusely. The colors are nice on this one. I used to play Royal High in Roblox, and this is my character Lana. You can see she is on the other spreads once we get to them. Like her first design, she looks ethereal. Next one is my avatar, and I find it adorable to see how I had such a cutesy design back then. The color combinations worked well in favor, and the fit is fall or wet season vibes. Next is this mermaid painting. I don't know, I was feeling in a sudden mermaid headspace, and then I wanted to draw the salmon siren. Apologies for the description. Next is another Lana design. The second one is her gothic Lolita phase. Love the composition and she looks more timid than before. Next are my zodiac OCs. They are not on their updated selves yet. Scorpio, now a man, but the energy is still there. I wanted Scorpio and Aries to be rivals. They match in intensity, but also have that conflicting, teasing sentiments. And we have Taurus and Leo. Taurus was originally a man, but it was changed. With Leo, they are just treating themselves in indulgence and luxury. I was supposed to make a set on the others, but I ripped off 2 pages from disappointment. These 2 lovebirds are my original characters, Candy and Cyrus. I was planning to make a short comic about them, but I did not have the motivation. The painting is cool though, the dark lighting and layering. Next is a random magical girl. Maybe I got into a mood on magical girl stuff. I said that 3 times, that means a magical girl might appear right behind me. I always wondered the concept of day and night as humans or deities keep coming back to illustrate these 2. I really love the composition and the wondrous approach on these 2 characters. I remember drawing this when I look up references of a woman holding an umbrella. I decided to make a character on a raincoat and she wields the enchanted umbrella or something, and these orbs surrounding her. Such an odd yet mystical outcome. Another Lana redesign. Now she is a galaxy princess. Seriously is her best, although I stopped playing Royal High in this one. One of my OCs, I cannot remember her name. The actual last page I did on the sketchbook is coloring this figure. I did use a little of yellow acrylic marker. Next are the gays, Kyosuke and Eli. One of my pending BL stories, though I am not sure if I should continue because it is a slice of life and kind of bland with a hint of drama. I love how the colors turned out, I guess. This one is a challenge way back in TikTok quarantine to design an OC based on myself. It turned out cute, although the heart on the upper right has non-waterproof ink. A page found in a later note I did in particular with paint acrylic markers. The way the colors blend somewhat impressive, might be either suggestive or abstract depending on your interpretation, the whole concept of this piece. These two are some of the designs for my avatar and debut. I was completely obsessed with the gothic 𝕊𝕠𝕗𝕠 clothing during lockdown, and I almost made my first ever cosplay. However, it did not happen, but the memory remains on these pieces at least. Another eyeless drawing of a random character situated in outer space, and the stars are blinding from above. Quite abstract. Love the posing and the colors. Another design of my previous avatar. I really liked how it turned out. Finished it with a gray mild liner for the backdrop. Now we get to circa 2023. We have 2 attempts to make Taylor Swift albums in watercolor. I am proud with these two, although 1989 TV looks like a fictional serial killer image which traumatized me. I would not Google that. It also showed my progress in developing my art style. These two are my avatar looks for Era 2 Metamorphosis. They were supposed to be a plan for Speak Now TV outfit for the Era review, but I love the dress so much that I made variants in different colors, just like Taylor herself. The finishing with acrylic markers. The next, I would call them, are the creepster spreads. We have bendy artwork and the watercolor for the ink demon, which gave the background effect for the foreground cartoonishly bendy. So exceptional. The other is Long Horse, one of my favorite Trevor Henderson creatures. He is a friendly fellow just creeping down in a flight of stairs with his long neck and balding. Next ones are my current avatar, and the style is more on the vintage and time aesthetics. Basically, my color preferences will either alternate between maximalism or monochromatic each year. No lies there. Some League of Legends related spreads. This is KP, one of my favorite LoL players. I find her content fun, and I like that she plays the game for entertainment and not to grind. And I also watch mostly her videos on YouTube and sometimes on Twitch. We have Syndra here. She is one of my mains. Her eyes are a bit wonky, but overall the blend of pigmented watercolors and acrylic markers pay off. A bundle of fruit on the page. I am just experimenting with acrylic markers on this checkpoint. We have a banana, apple, blueberries, and an orange. We have signed. Now the colors, I admit, are too intense for the softness of the webcomic. Johan is a bit off, but let us move on before I wallow in shame on this piece. Next we have my version of Fluttershy. I really think she would be good in 60s hippie outfits. It seems the style gravitates towards her personality. I am playing with perspectives on this next one, experimenting with the amount of colors. I love the composition. Truly on the illustration as a whole, it has a mystical vibe to it. Now we get to the end of this sketchbook, and here is my attempt of making a little persona, though it is not on the final design yet. With that, this tiny watercolor sketchbook comes to an end. Surprisingly, this took 4 years, and I am glad the misery of this book itself is over. That sounds dark. Like this book. Now we get to my next collection. I dubbed this my therapy sketchbook because maybe quite some time I am feeling down in the last year, so I had to make something to cleanse. Occasionally there are more personal stuff, such as venting, present in this sketchbook, which I will safely show, but a warning nonetheless. This is the first page of my avatar in a therapy chair, an enigma of itself, I guess. The next one is Taylor Swift Midnights. I love the album enough to really put in some lyrics that I relate to. Definitely one of her underrated photo shoots and aesthetics. I did an Era review on Midnights. You can check it out on the upper right corner to see my thoughts on the album. Next is Steven Universe. I'm on par on how these diamonds turned out. Their gem parts are actually the last one to be colored with acrylic markers. A decent piece of fan art. Next is Olivia Rodrigo's Guts. her second studio album, a fan art I made after listening to it a couple of days, and my thoughts will be pending up until my era review is finished for this one. My avatar in Speak Now TV persona, I wanted to show the side-by-side on the final piece, which I did on the era review itself. Considering I like this more than the end result, it is so glamorous and I wanted to include my favorites on the album. I already done Speak Now TV as well. If you want to check it out, make sure to inspect on the upper right corner of this video. Next, I drew Jax and added more fluff to his fur, done when the amazing digital circus got released. Some poses are free-handed and others referenced from the show itself. These are my OCs in Halloween Corporation. I made them during a 9th grade economics class project. The premise is like The Office, but make it Halloween. They are fun and cute. Next up, I drew Lily on her Tekken 8 outfit. I am quite impressed with the layering and the watercolors in this one. I finished this piece with a purple highlighter, which surprisingly did not bleed. Next is Helter Skelter. I did not watch the film, however, I did spoil myself when I saw a discourse about it on a video essay on YouTube. I might watch it sometime because the premise of the film is interesting. I planned my Era 3 and these are some notes and designs for the era itself. I love the monochromatic feel to these and so far it is updated to a notch. Next are some quotes by Myrtle Snow from American Horror Story Season 3, Coven. The only season I liked watching clips. I'm still not into horror. She's supposed to have a brooch, but I had no time for that, and I really think I captured Frances Conroy in this light. Next is a New Year's illustration with my avatar and a bunch of flowers. I remembered I am supposed to call it New Tier for some reason. We have my OC Taurus in different poses. This is the very last page I did on the sketchbook. Very fashion forward and demure in my opinion. One of the Vent poems about mistakes. I illustrated more like a spear. Every time you make a mistake, it feels like a stab of guilt. Moving on to the lady's hair. It turned out pretty great, and I wanted to just draw a bunch of diverse hairstyles. I especially love the princess curls and how elegant it looks. Some watercolor landscape practice. I have been practicing to develop my patience, as well as layering with this media, so vibrant and nature-based. Here we have Valley of the Dolls fan art. I admit, not one of my favorites in terms of coloring. It seems bare bones and plus the characters look a little too off, but it's there. My favorite character would be Ann Wells. Next is some Audrey Hepburn fan art from the film Funny Face, one of my favorites from her, but I do not think some of these capture her image. I also include quotes from the film. Now here are my core 4 personas. We have style, fan, info, and mood. I will delve into these renditions soon, as I will make a video about them. I would call them the Great Divide of my personality. Another Vent poem, this time is about religion, and I would not go into details on this particular piece. We have a blob color exercise again. I love how many things looked in the spread. It is so captivating and therapeutic. I recommend it because it is good practice. I lend my sketchbook to one of my friends, and here is her art. Like how cutesy and adorable they are. Certainly a memory on this book. Next is a character I did for my finals on my 3D modeling class. I will show my work on the screen, and long story short, it was hectic yet worth it at the end. A fan art from a Czech new wave film entitled Daisies. This film itself is underrated and a statement piece about 2 girls wreaking havoc on their path. I love the maximalism and how filled up this page is. The very first time I used Pinterest to practice drawing from reference, particularly witchy themes evokes on this spread. I definitely love the variety. Next up is the Powerpuff Girls and my designs if they grew up in college. I like the individuality of Bubbles and Buttercup, but Blossom I think would be the new Miss Bellum in the scene. A very interesting approach on the plot idea. We have more hairstyles this time for the guys. I like the Lost in Diamonds one, not necessarily the best batch, but appreciated. Vegetized Sam fan art, which is an underrated design in Danny Phantom in my opinion. Her pose is stunning and I gave her enough plant variants for her attacks. Pinterest pile number 2 evokes around religious themes, specifically the Weeping Virgin Mary. There is something fascinating about the statues and their facial expressions, partly ominous yet emotional as well. 4x4 watercolor layering practice. I did my best to form various patterns in one go, and I love the simplicity and the progression of the medium used. We have a page on making sigils on a passion project. This is my OC 𝕊𝕠𝕔𝕚𝕤𝕚, who is a witch, and lore building text I guess. The next is Dua Lipa's Radical Optimism, my very first album. I reacted on her discography. I loved the pictures I referenced and I wanted to capture that island vibes from her. It resulted in great fashion. Next we go into Brat Summer with Leo and Libra, one of my most photogenic OCs. I used mainly highlighter on the clothes and some loose parts. They served the meal and ready to bump in that. Also, the colors turned out great even though it is a bit streaky on the paper. My final event poem about vanity, and you can guess what I feel about it when I illustrated it. My rendition of my emotions inspired from the ensemble cast of Inside Out 2. Experimental most of the designs, and some are simple and some are complex. Can you guess which is my core emotion on the scene? Let me know in the comments below. We have Sonic fan art. My childhood self is screaming on the top of his lungs. It has been a while since I fanboyed and I am surprised I drew Sonado out of the blue. Their hedgehog selves look derpy compared to the human versions. Next we have a Pinterest pile filled with men. I thought I mostly drew female characters, so why not switch it up for this spread? They turn out marvelous as well, and this is the last Pinterest pile for this sketchbook. Probably my least favorite page on the sketchbook. I drew me and my friends Sonas together and I just went ham on the coloring scheme. It is artsy on a way, but I did not do them justice enough. Second to the last page is my first time using acrylic markers and I instantly loved them, the way they blend, and I cannot wait to use more of them in the future. My Meadowlark 𝕊𝕠𝕗𝕠, which the artist is great but the fandom was the disappointment. Finally reaching the end of the sketchbook tour and my avatar in more vibrant color scheme. So I decided the findings is that the thing I use to cope are pop culture, fan art, my original characters, and vent poems. Basically, that is the gist of it. In general, art is a therapy of itself and it can soothe the people who enjoy it. Those are some of my 2 sketchbooks that I recently finished. I do have one surviving older sketchbook to which I can show along with a new sketchbook I have been working on. Praise to finish it early so that I can do this segment once again, and I am ecstatic to develop my traditional art skills. Let me know in the comments below on what I should do next or suggest something for me to draw. Feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and have a pleasant day.